update number 16. I'm moving right along with this project now, and just when you think everything's going along great, we wind up with an issue. So what happened whenever I was cutting the flange here, which the blue foam now will come over the top of this, and once it comes out of the fixture, then this lip here is going to accept the edge of the blue foam. And whenever I was cutting this lip, I put in a setup program, and so after the cut, I did not end the code, and therefore it went ahead and ran to that next move, which was the setup move, and just so happened the bit just skimmed the edge of the nose cone. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to repair that, and not only am I going to repair it, but I'm also going to show you how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to do the best I can to try to keep this in camera view, but I've already mixed up some 5-minute epoxy. I'm going to make my little signature pastry bag deal so that I can dispense the epoxy and put it exactly where I want it. I've never done this with one hand, but doggone looks like I can do it with one hand too. So now I'm just going to dispense a little bit of epoxy in the cavity here. And also, before I started this, I did cut a piece of foam to go in here, and pretty much what I did was just cut the foam 1/4 of an inch wide and then rounded the end with some sandpaper. And I'm just going to press this in, 5-minute epoxy, and once it kicks off, then I'm going to sand that off, and it'll be like it never happened. But at any rate, now I will continue on with the update here, and then we'll come back to this and I'll show you when it's finished.
Okay, while I'm waiting on the epoxy to dry for the nose cone repair, I thought I would show you how I went about creating the lip on the nose cone and the tail cone in order to receive the blue skin, which is about 1/4 of an inch in thickness. And this skin is going to recess onto the nose cone and the tail cone back 1 inch from the edge. Basically, the nose cone and the tail cone are going to plug into the center section. And the way I went about getting that flange was actually pretty simple. What I did was, if we go and look at the bulkhead, which is highlighted now, the outside line, this line here, would be the outside of the fuselage. So I needed the flange to be the same shape as the bulkhead. So what I did was I created a tool path based on this dimension of the bulkhead. And the way I went about that is I simply cut the bulkhead in half right down the middle, made a left and a right, which would give me the left side and the right side of the fuselage. Then I went down and took and laid that on the table here, and then I connected it so that I could do both the left and the right at the same time. Then I went ahead and laid these out, and then created a tool path based on a 1 inch depth. So if we go over to mesh cam, you can see that I've actually turned this on the side a little bit so that you can see that it is actually that shape. The large radius is on the top side, the smaller radius is on the bottom, or the left and the right. So on the right, or the inside here, we have the large radius, and here we have the large radius. So in a sense, this would be the left half and this would be the right half. And I use this same tool path to cut both the nose and the tail cone. And now we'll take a look at the cutting of that flange.
Okay, now that the epoxy is set on my flange, I want to go ahead and rough cut the foam here. Just use the X-Acto blade and cut it pretty close, but I'll do some sanding and finish it off. But whenever I'm done here, it'll be like it never even happened. Now we'll hit this with some sandpaper. Now you can see the finish, and it worked out pretty good. Now I guess a couple of things. Number one, I'm using 220 sandpaper on my mouse, and I'm not putting any pressure, hardly any pressure at all. I'm kind of letting the sandpaper do the job. And also, you'll notice that I did not take out those high spots. I didn't want to overdo it, no need to. I'll take out those high spots whenever I blend this, the white foam to the blue foam. And you can see that I've got just a little bit of extra meat all the way around to do the blending, which should work out really well. This way I can take the white foam down to the blue foam rather than build up or sand down on the blue foam. But at any rate, that is how I went about creating that lip to receive the blue foam on both the nose cone and the tail cone.